Hello, Peachies. Welcome back to Dear Peachie. If you've been following the Chinese makeup trend lately, chances are you've already seen this look pop up on your FYP. It's that effortlessly soft, smoky cat eye makeup that feels subtle but still eye-catching. This look was created by an up-and-coming beauty creator on XiaoHongShu. Why Dan? While she's still relatively new to the influencer scene, every single look she's shared so far has received an amazing response. Her makeup style is refined, wearable, and incredibly aesthetic. If her vibe matches your taste, she's definitely a creator you don't want to miss. First up, Dan starts with a primer to even out her skin tone. She's using a purple-toned primer, which helps to brighten her overall complexion and gives the skin a fresh, luminous base. Next, she moves on to concealer. She chooses one that's very close to her natural skin tone, mainly to cover dark circles and any blemishes. With just a few precise applications, her skin already looks so much more even. No more darkness under the eyes or redness around the blemishes. For foundation, Dan reaches for the MAC Studio Fix and a flat foundation brush. She starts by dispensing the product onto the back of her hand, and then gently buffs it into the brush, making sure every bristle picks up just the right amount. She applies the foundation to the center of her face first, under the eyes and on the cheeks, and then quickly pats it out with a makeup puff. While it wasn't shown on camera, she does the same for her forehead and chin before moving on to the next step. Dan moves on to add a bit of matte highlighter to brighten the center of the face. Again, she is dispensing on her hand before she takes the foundation brush to apply the highlighter to the under eye region. She is also adding some to the smile lines. Then she gently pats to set it with a puff again to blend evenly with the foundation. When it comes to contouring, Dan says you can use any palette you have on hand, but today she's going with the Judy Doll Contour Palette. She starts with the nose, defining it from the deepest point where the nose bridge meets the inner corner of the eyes. From there, she applies the contour upwards toward the brow bone and gently blends it downwards in a small C shape. On the nose tip, she draws a V at the bottom and connects it with a U shape at the tip for subtle definition. Next, she lightly sweeps contour along the jawline and blends it upward for a natural lift. For the cheeks, she finds the highest point of the cheekbone, dabs the contour vertically, and blends it out seamlessly. Then, switching to a small blending brush, she picks up the matte highlighter from the same palette. She goes back to the cheekbone area, applying it slightly inward from the highest point, forming a small triangle in the mid-face area. Finally, she highlights the bridge and tip of the nose as well. This technique narrows the mid-face, lifts the features, and gives the face a more defined, sculpted look. For the brows, we're going for a softer, lighter look since the focus here is all about the eyes. Dan starts by lightly brushing them with a brown brow gel to soften the color, then fills them in with a dark brown pencil. The key here is to avoid making the arch too sharp or high. Keep the brows mostly straight for a more natural, youthful look. Now onto the eyes. This part is surprisingly simple. She begins with a light almond shade, applying it evenly across the upper and lower lids as a base. You can focus a little more on the lower outer corner to subtly define the eye. Next, she takes a darker brown and blends it into the crease, concentrating on the outer V and lower outer corner. This step is optional, but to lift the eyes and create that classic uplifted shape, Dan uses double eyelid tape to adjust the fold of the crease before continuing with the rest of the eye makeup. Using a small eye detail brush, pick up a deep brown eyeshadow and use it to tightline the eyes. Start from the inner corner and gently fill along the lash line, working your way outward. With whatever product is left on the brush, softly drag it down to the lower outer lash line. Begin blending at the outer third first, then move toward the inner third, blending everything backwards so the upper and lower lines connect seamlessly. It's important not to go in directly with a harsh eyeliner at this stage, as that can make the eye look too sharp or unnatural. Using eyeshadow first keeps everything soft and smoky. Once you're happy with the shape, go back in with a liquid liner to intensify it. Keep the inner liner thin and precise, then extend the tail slightly upward to create a subtle, lifted cat eye effect. Going back in with the dark brown eyeshadow, Dan uses it to softly contour the under-eye fat, or XiaoHongShu, adding subtle depth without making it look heavy. She then uses the same shade to gently smudge the edges of the inner corner and the cat-eye wing, creating a diffused, smoky finish instead of a sharp line. Next, she moves on to individual false lashes. For this look, Dan chooses a volumizing lash cluster that's glue-free, making it super easy to apply while still adding fullness and definition to the eyes. For blush, she reaches for one of her all-time favorites, Pat McGrath in Nude Venus. She applies it under the eyes, right along the cheekbones, and blends it inward slowly. This placement gives that slightly tipsy, flushed effect. She also adds a touch across the nose for a more cohesive, youthful look. To finish off the look, she follows her natural lip shape and fills it in with a rose-toned lipstick. A small beauty mark is added under the eye for extra charm. And finally, a pearlescent highlighter is lightly applied to the nose bridge and tip, with just a hint on the eyes to tie everything together. Now that the makeup is complete, let's move on to the hairstyle that ties this whole look together. This hair tutorial is super simple and only takes 2 steps. First, an easy updo, and second, soft side-swept bangs. For reference, Dan hair is medium length, so you can use this as a guide and adjust it based on your own hair length and texture. Let's start with the updo. First, section out your bangs to leave it out. Section the bangs aligning from the brow arch. Once that's done, gather the rest of your hair and tie it up, then smooth it out with a comb to tie it into a ponytail. The easiest way to make an updo is to use a large claw clip. Simply twist the hair over and over, fold it upward, and secure it with the clip. Having the clip positioned at the side instantly adds volume and makes the head shape look fuller. Next are the bangs. Since Dan's bangs are originally cut and styled as middle bangs, turning them into side-swept bangs can be a little tricky. If you have the same issue, you can do what she does: lightly dampen the roots of the bangs with water, then use a hairdryer to blow dry them diagonally at the roots. Make sure not to blow straight down. A small tip here is to press down at the roots while drying. This helps the bangs naturally fall into a side-swept shape. After that, use a flat iron to create a soft curve toward one side. Curl them over a few times to set them in place. Once she is satisfied, she lightly sprays some hairspray to set everything. Smooth the hair over gently. For the side-swept bangs, gently comb the strands closer together. This helps them stay in place and hold up better against the wind. If you want extra security, Dan is even using lash glue to fix the end of the bangs in place to her brow. Now for the hair at the back, curl this section slightly, tuck it behind the ear, and secure it with a hair clip. Any extra strands can be curled as well, so the hairstyle doesn't look flat or empty. Pull out a tiny bit of hair around the ear for a softer look. Do the same on the other side. Tuck it behind the ear, pull out a small section, and adjust as needed. Finally, adjust the overall shape of the head. Gently lift the hair at the crown by placing your fingers underneath and pulling outward slightly. As long as the shape looks rounded and balanced, you're good to go. Make a few final tweaks, and that's it. So what do you think about it? With soft, smoky eyes, a lifted cat eye, subtle contouring, flushed cheeks, and a natural rose-toned lip, this look gives off those effortless cool girl vibes we're loving. It's chic and not so approachable, and that's the point of the look. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in the next video. Goodbye.